Had to be done, yeah.
Well, hello there.
Sorry. Hey.
Hi. Welcome aboard. A couple more people trickled into Zoom.
You sit right over here.
Yeah.
Hello.
There.
I just couldn't bring myself to leave the house tonight, guys.
Oh, we understand.
That the Zoom attendance isn't a little bigger, to be honest, but yeah.
Okay,
All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. And
All right, let me go find a pen.
okay,
we're already recording.
thank you. This, it's Wednesday, January 12th, 2024. And this is the first Quaker Valley Council of Governments first meeting of the new year. I call to order. Now it's 7 o'clock. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand up.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Patrick, you want to start the roll call?
Sure thing. Aleppo,
Here.
Avalon,
Present.
Bell Acres, Bellevue. Oh, looks like. So, Ben Avon,
Here.
Edgeworth, Emsworth, Glen Osborne,
Here.
Glenfield.
Here.
Hayesville,
Here.
Kilbuck,
Here.
Wheat,
Here.
Leetsdale,
Here.
Sewickley,
Here.
Sewickley Heights.
Here.
Man, we're on a roll there, aren't we? Had to start-
My goodness.
That's gotta be a record.
And Emsworth is here, just so you know. Sorry, just tuned in.
Oh, no problem. All right, we'll mark you down. Perfect. That's a quorum.
Wow.
We can get started.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, no. Yes,
I appreciate it.
no problem. That is a good point. I'm gonna send a link out to Maria. But yeah, go ahead, Barbara.
Okay. Patrick, you want to begin the introduction of new delegates that are?
Sure thing. So we have a few new faces on the board this year. First, we'll go with Donna. Donna's gonna be from Leet Township. Did you just want to go ahead and do a brief introduction and background for yourself?
Sure. This is not my first rodeo here, but I'm really happy to be back. I'm also a Lee Township Commissioner. I was a few years ago as well, so I've been on the board, off the board, back on the board. So I've always found the meetings here to be informative, productive, the whole 9 yards. So I'm happy to be back.
We're happy to have you.
Happy to have you.
Yes.
We also have a new delegate in Emsworth, Abby Donovan. Did you want to go ahead and just do a brief introduction, Abby?
Yes, hi everyone. My name's Abby Donovan. I've been on Emsworth Borough Council for the last 2 years. During my day job is I'm an attorney. And I really look forward to getting to know you all and working together.
Nice to have you on board, Abby.
And last but not least, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name is Beth Carroll from Leetsdale. I've been on Leetsdale Council for the last 2 years and I've been a resident there since 2001. My day job now is lots of things without money. I'm a mom and I have my husband with his business, but my profession was in recruiting before that. But I'm very excited to be part of this organization. I love the idea of coming together to get things done.
And I just sent the link to Maria too. I don't know if she had a chance to, there we go.
Okay, great.
So I think Maria is the alternate from Leetsdale.
Okay, cool.
So we had a meeting earlier today and she asked if she could join. I said, sure, just to see how things run.
Absolutely.
I think she's on the call, so.
We also just reintroduce.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a great idea. Just go ahead and start us off. Art.
Art Williams from Aleppo Township. I have this will be my third term. We just sworn in last Monday for Aleppo and we also served here on the COG, although I have been absent for about the past year and a half or so because of a family issue. I was playing Nurse Jane Fuzzy Wuzzy. And I too have learned an awful lot more about the valley than I would have any other way. And I really look forward to continuing on with the work here.
Thank you. And we'll alternate here between Zoom. So Nate, did you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the board?
Yeah, hi, Nate Briggs. Sorry about that, Patrick.
Oh,
Special
what a
guest,
little
too.
one.
This is little Ash.
Ah.
I'm Borough of Strictly Heights. I'm the manager there. So, sorry, unlike most of you, where I'm not an elected official, but an appointed official. So that's my day job, and I also do this, try to support the Quaker Valley on the side and take care of this little one.
Oh,
He's adorable.
he
Very good.
is,
Thank you,
he
Nate.
is. Julie?
Julie, you're up.
Okay, I'm Julie Barnes. I serve on Swickley Borough Council. I've been serving since 2020. And I love the COG because I just think it's great for us to know each other and work on like issues that matter to all of us. Because since our municipalities are so small and we can share our knowledge and our concerns. And when we come together and advocate as a group, we have a bigger voice that's more impactful if we're going to like our elected officials at the state level or even the federal level. So, I mean, that's what I love to see us do together, and I'm excited that there's so many new people. That's great. Welcome.
Very good. Amy, go ahead.
Gotta get myself off mute. It's still a thing even now. Hello, I'm Amy Path. I am Hayesville Council. I am president of council. And I can't actually remember if I'm in my third or fourth term, but I've been on for a little while and have been on COG for probably about 5 or 6 years, maybe 4 or 5 years, which sounds crazy to say, but it definitely is a great organization, and we've benefited hugely from being a part of it. And nice to meet all of you.
Great. Donna, you already went, so we'll go to Daryl.
I'm Daryl Hartman, Killbuck Township Supervisor. I'm new to that. I've been a Killbuck Township resident since 1962. And then I spent 34 years in the Air Force. I'm a retired Air Force colonel, and retired 11 years ago. And I thought, let's do something different. So here I am.
Glad to have you.
Hi.
All right. How about Roberta?
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm Roberta. I am on council for Avalon. I've been a Avalon and Bellevue Borough resident probably for almost 20 years now. I have a 12-year-old, and I think this is my third year on council. It's my first term. And I really enjoy the COG. I feel like if we just keep grinding, we can really get some results done for our region. And I love that we're one big group versus, Bellevue doing something and Hayesville doing something and no one listening to our little voices. So I feel like this is a really effective format, and I'm really excited to be on it for a third year. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. Paul, you're up.
Paul Carmody, Glenfield Borough. I'm on council there. And when you're fifth in line, everything I'm gonna say is redundant. Everybody's already said it. So, this is my first year on COG. So,
Welcome.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right, Tavia, you're up.
Hi, I'm Tavia Washington, and I'm on council in Ben Avon. This is my third year on council. This will be my third year on council and my third year on COG, I believe. And I've enjoyed it so far. It's nice to get to know what's going on in other communities, and it's been a nice introduction to local government. I'm new to this area. We moved here from Ohio probably, I guess, 7 or 8 years ago. So it's been a good experience to get to know our community and what's going on in neighboring communities. So thank you.
Great. So we heard from Beth. How about Maria? I know she was able to join in here. Did you want to introduce yourself to the group?
One moment, I need to figure out how to work this thing.
Oh, no problem.
Yes, okay, there you go. I think this should work. So I'm Maria Napolitano. Hello, everybody. I am the alternate delegate for Leedsdale Borough. Thank you so much for having me here. So here to observe. I've been on council for 2 years now, currently serve as a council president, and I've been living in Leedsdale with my family for just about 9 years. So got to interact with Patrick and work with QVCOG over this 2 years on council. So know a little bit about the organization, but really looking forward to learn more and connect with all of you. Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. And last but certainly not least, Barbara.
My name is Barbara Carrier. I am mayor of Glen Osborne. This is my 13th year as mayor. I was also on council for a long time, and before that, planning commissioner. So I have no idea how long I've been in public government. I am or was, before I retired, a kindergarten teacher, which I loved. I believe strongly what happens, it's so important to know your next door neighbors. It's so important to learn. And I've known through meetings, we've learned from each other. If something arises, it goes out to the group, and it's always my favorite is the concerns by the delegates. Because somebody that's been in government for a while or has the same situation happen knows what to do. And always as a collective group, you could solve problems, you could go for grants. You're a stronger voice to serve for the collective people that are along the Route 65 and in the Quaker Valley COG. There's a reason why the COG was formed. And I love to see this COG really fulfill its potential. So that's who I am.
Thank you for that. And I always forget somebody, hopefully I didn't. Is anyone on the Zoom call? Did I forget to introduce you? Think we're good. Okay, next up is gonna be the reorganization. So I will go ahead and scroll down real quick. We have a cover memo that just breaks everything down. I'll just go ahead and read it out loud and we'll go from there. So long drum roll, we'll get there eventually. So we're going backwards this meeting packet. Maybe not. I think maybe it's actually, yeah.
I don't remember seeing it.
Here it is. Okay, so next up, we're gonna do the reorganization. Per the bylaws of the QVCOG, the Board of Delegates will elect the following officers within the board: first, president, second vice president, third, treasurer. There will be no term limits for officers. The roles of president of the QVCOG Board of Delegates will approve the agenda for meetings, preside over meetings of the board, and sign checks, resolutions, agreements, etc. The vice president, if the president is unwilling or unable to perform his or her duties, the vice president will serve as acting president and will also do all the aforementioned things, sign checks, resolutions, agreements, etc. The treasurer of the QVCOG Board of Delegates will sign checks when needed and approve oversight of financial reports and audits every year. So how do we select these people? First, the officers of the QVCOG Board of Delegates will be selected annually for a term of 1 year at the first meeting of the year as its first action item. The executive director will preside over the meeting until the newly elected president has been selected. Once the president has been selected, he or she will assume control over the meeting and conduct the selection of all other officers. For selection of all, for each officer, nominations for officers will come from other delegates. Nominations for officers will require a second, and the officers will be selected from the nominated candidates by a secret ballot. To be selected as an officer, a nominated candidate must receive more votes than any other candidate. In the event of a tie, delegates will caucus and vote again by secret ballot. Second vote results in a tie, the president will be selected by polling laws. In my 3 years here, we've never had to do any of that. It's usually just, nominations.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I will open the floor to nominations for the position of QVCOG Board of Delegates president.
I'd like to nominate Barbara Carrier for QVCOG president.
I'd like to second that.
Okay.
Third or fourth.
We'll,
Thank you.
okay, with that being said, we'll need a motion to close nominations.
I'd like to make a motion to close nominations for the QVCOG president.
Okay. All right, and the second, we'll do Art. And any of those opposed? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close nominations. Can I have a motion to approve Miss Barbara Carrier to serve as delegate,
So moved.
president of delegate?
Second.
Okay,
You're stuck with it.
all right, Donna, the role is yours once again. Feel free to take over the meeting.
Okay,
Let the fun begin.
let the fun begin. And
Thank
yeah,
you, Barbara.
Thank you all. Thank you all. I appreciate the vote of confidence as always, because you never know with the president whether you're doing what the board wants or. So I thank you. I'll open up the floor to a nomination for vice president. And I would like to nominate Julie Barnes.
I would like to second that.
At this point, well, you were very formal in your nominations, I must say. Yeah, any discussion, any other nominations for vice president? All those in favor of Julie Barnes being vice president of the Quaker Valley COG, say aye.
Aye.
There you go, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to serve.
We're happy to have. I remember the old days. Okay, I'll accept nominations for treasurer for the Quaker Valley COG. I would like to nominate John Schwen.
Is John on the call?
That's
John
what I
is
was
not
told.
on the call, but
Okay. Do we know if he's willing?
yeah, I mean, I'm sure
Okay.
he's a good person to work with budgets and
Yeah,
things like
okay.
that, so.
Second.
All those in favor of having John Schwen be our treasurer, even though he's not here.
Aye.
Signify by
Aye.
saying aye.
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you.
All right,
Okay. Would, public comment or any guests? I don't see any. We'll move on to the approval. Oh,
public comment.
oh, the baby. Okay, that's a wonderful comment. This is the best comment I've ever had at a public meeting.
Perfect
let me
timing.
tell you.
Yeah.
Moving on, I'm looking at the approval of the December 20th, 2023 meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion. To
So
approve.
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I hope everybody has read them. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. If you're online, just raise your hand. Thank you. Next is approval of the December financial reports and unpaid bills. And there goes my computer. Great. And Patrick, do you want to have any comment on that?
Just this in the packet, you'll see that budget is the December 31st budget, so that is where we were at the beginning of the year. I think everything tracked up pretty well. I think where we were as far as estimating what we brought those funds in where we thought we were going to spend. We spent there to a great extent. I think we are conservative as far as our expenditures. Thank you all for working with me and making sure that we got everything we needed to get done. More or less, the only thing in the unpaid bills that sticks out the usual is our annual fee to the PA Police Chiefs Association. You might remember from over a year ago now, we got a mobile fingerprint scanner that all of our police departments are able to use. Part of that agreement through the Chiefs Association is that we would pay the cellular connection. It's $1,025 annually, so about $100 a month. So that bill came out in December. That's covered for another year. So our chiefs are able to use that free of charge for all those that are able and willing and able to use that device. So other than that, everything's business as usual in the bills. We did actually issue a check to Swickley that's reflected in the packet there for a CD project, a reimbursement of $44,750. So that cleared yesterday. But other than that, business as usual.
How much traffic is, how much traffic is occurring on the fingerprint?
Well, it's stationed at the Edgeworth Borough Police Department, as a hub, but that's a great question, and I asked my police chiefs group as far as how often it's been used. I don't have access, it's a secure like database, I don't have access to see how it's used or whose fingerprints are in it or anything like that, but next time we get together, which is gonna be in a week or two, I'll ask them to see, how many different departments have had a chance to use it and
Yeah.
what their experience has been.
Yeah, we want to develop a habit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, the worst thing is if it just sits in the home base. We don't want that. We want everyone to share it, so.
Okay. Thank you. It's now the president's report. And I know, little do you know that Patrick and I discussed, the future weeks at 10 o'clock on Monday morning,
Everybody,
as we did this week. But doggone it, I knew there was something I wanted to say in the president's report. Do you remember?
it was the introduction of the new delegates. I think that was the main thing.
Okay. Okay. Good. It wasn't anything that I wasn't missing. That's like, But I do want to thank everybody that's here tonight. I do want to thank our new members, just because in my point of view, this is a very important organization. And it's up to the members and everyone here to make it relevant. Because in today's society, things move quickly and politics moves slowly. So as we all know, it takes a while to get anything done. And I think through an organization like this, things get done quicker. And when you have shared ideas, things are done better. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you for that. I think we're up to Route 65 down. I'll just kind of lead in by saying on January 10th, last week, we got together. The committee is Julie, Barbara, myself, and Dan McKelvey from Bellevue. Got together just to sort of reset the organization. This is our second go at it. And just sort of set the structure for the meeting, future meetings, and where we wanted to take the committee over the next year plus, right? And Julie, did you sort of want to take it from there and just kind of highlight what we
Yeah,
discussed?
sure. So just to give a little background for the new people, many years ago, there was a study commission to look at 65 and identify its challenges, and we all know there's challenges. But there was a formal study done to do that, and by some researchers at CMU. And then a second phase of the study actually started to look for some solutions to those challenges. They found that safety was an issue, that it was like, well, the three goals for the design, the new design, was to make it safer, greener, and cleaner. Those were the three goals. Pedestrian traffic was also another thing that was highlighted, but there's a 200-page document that you could read with all the details. But just to boil it down, basically, once there was a design guide made that gave a couple of municipalities along 65. Let me back up here for a second. Okay, so first there was a study done to identify the problems. And then Michael Baker International was hired to create some designs to solve problems. They picked two communities, and they picked Ambridge and Emsworth. And they looked specifically at 65 along those areas and identified solutions for the problems in those two case studies. And then they made a design guide that could be used by anyone along a 25-mile stretch from the McKees Rocks Bridge up into Beaver County. So any of us could use that design guide to look at 65 in our neighborhood and have some ideas on how to fix some of the issues that are common to the whole boulevard. But the next stage is for us to band together and try to either start making some improvements along 65 in our individual areas. And at the same time, I think that our committee is in agreement that we could do two things at once. We could start looking at individual improvements, but we could also band together and enter into an intergovernmental cooperative agreement with the 15-member municipal municipality members of the COG to make like a resolution of commitment to work together on this shared community asset. And it just means that moving forward, we want to make decisions as a group. And that may, in the end, involve getting PennDOT involved in commissioning a master plan from PennDOT to reimagine the road. It's a huge thing. It's long, it's a long, it's a long-term vision. But it's the only way that you would see like really cohesive change along the roadway is to get PennDOT involved. So to do that, we need to band together as like collectively, and that is our goal. For the year is to try to inform all of us who are here representing the different communities to get informed about 65 and what we can do to help. And then to take that information to our councils and ask them to adopt a resolution to enter into intergovernmental cooperative agreement. So that's a lot of government words, but I think that we can do it. We've been talking about it for years. I do think that there are people even in this group now that would be ready to sign on now. So it's just a matter of like getting everybody up to speed and doing it all at the same time.
And this agreement would not initially mean that any money involved. It's just a commitment to cooperate.
Right.
Now, down the road, definitely we'll apply for grants and there probably will be money. But at this point in time, there is not. And we talked to PennDOT about Route 65. The thing, as Julie said, there are two different, there's the master plan and then there's the practical plan. That one thing about Route 65 is it's inconsistent. Sees from, from Leedsdale all the way down to the border between Bellevue and the city of Pittsburgh. So there's things that you can do that are in this huge volume that are tree plantings so people can see how to turn off the road because we have residential districts right along the boulevard. And even those communities that don't border the boulevard use the boulevard and are affected by the boulevard. Because this is our main route into Pittsburgh. And it's called a boulevard, but I know in some places, especially between Glen Osborne and Emsworth, it looks like a 4-lane highway.
Yeah.
And then you pop into Emsworth and you go through Ben Avon and it's residential.
Yeah.
And then you go to Bellevue and you've got businesses on both sides, a 4-lane road without a middle, but we all know it's not safe. And it could look and look nice, slow traffic down, but people keep moving. But also when people are moving, they miss our communities. I mean, I said Glen Osborne and people go, where is that? What is it? Well, they really don't go into our towns. It's a through road, which is fine. But we also can get some of the traffic from that through road to come and use our stores, our parks. What we do have that are wonderful assets around in this area. So that's also part of this study.
And originally, when the road was, it was built over a 20-year period, but when it was built, there was consistent signage at each neighborhood. And so the signs look the same, which creates like a more of a community feel, like we're all similar because we live along this roadway. And that was one of the recommendations in the design guide, was to do signage that just introduced each neighborhood along the way. So it's an interesting project. It's a big undertaking, but we're up for it, right?
Yep, and we'll be set to meet once a month. We set a monthly meeting date. I believe it's the second Friday of the month in the afternoon. So we'll have a reoccurring meeting, that group that is going to focus on this
65 group.
Yeah.
Accessibility shortcuts.
Well
No
said.
idea.
So, yeah, we'll get together and, like Joey said, this is a long, project, but we're gonna break things down in this group and try to really make this tangible for each one of our delegates and each one of the committee members to bring this to all of our towns and, get it across the finish line, step by step.
Mhm.
So, all right, next up is our grant report.
Yeah.
So, some big news on that front, that it's not gonna be reflected in your meeting packets, because I actually just found it out this afternoon, or this morning. So, a lot of these projects, for our CD year 48 are starting to wrap up, so that's great news. But big news in the front for our gaming, economic development and tourism fund, applications. We had 15 applications through that program pipeline last fall,
Mhm.
and we were awarded 5 of them. That was announced today.
Wow.
So I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down here, just to get there eventually. And just gonna highlight each project that was announced and the money that was provided for each. So first off, we have one in Glen Osborne Borough. This is gonna be for the cured in place pipelining of about 3,000 linear feet of sanitary sewer pipe from Beaver Road to Davis Lane, in Glen Osborne, $134,000. So really proud of that. Hayesville Borough.
Congratulations.
Hayesville Borough got a $200,000 award to remove an existing stone wall, guardrail, and excavation, as well as clearance and grubbing of adjacent public right of way. And this project will also include the construction of concrete culverts, milling, and the installation of a Jersey barrier wall. So really, really excited for Hayesville to get that award.
Yeah.
So great news there. Leedsdale Borough, $228,000 to replace their existing boat launch. So again, nice big chunk of money that's gonna go a long way to fix up the boat launch. Killbuck Township, $165,000 to repair some of their sanitary sewers in the township. And last but not least, Bellevue got $25,000 to install a garbage enclosure and ADA parking and restroom facilities in Bain Park. So again, this is huge. That's over $750,000. Just to kind of give you guys an idea, like not to downplay CDBG projects at all, but we get like $150,000 to spread amongst all of our communities through that program. It's great, no complaints, but we just multiply that by 7 for this new pot. And the gaming money wasn't available until 3 years ago. So this is, I think, really a new path for our organization to really make an impact for our communities. And it's just dollars talk, right? We're starting to see hundreds of thousands of dollars to flow in. So really happy about that. You know, obviously not every project can get funded and it's really out of our hands. This is something that happens way above my level. You know, the powers that be shuffle these dollars back and forth. And these are the ones that were picked for this year. But I reached out to all the managers, secretaries, and delegates that are affiliated with these towns, let them know of the award. We'll get the official letter from Allegheny County Redevelopment Authority probably the next week or two. I'll give those to you guys for your records as well.
Yeah.
And I want to highlight also, you don't have to go through the QB cog. It's, you know, it helps us and I think makes a great application. But I think Swickley Borough, Edgeworth Borough, and Avalon also were awarded these grants too. So congratulations to you guys too. Oh,
I hadn't heard.
I'll send you the link.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you guys got one for your borough building. So
Oh, excellent.
Edgeworth got one
Yeah.
for Beaver Road's retaining wall, and Avalon got another one that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll send out the award announcement to everyone to take a look at. And it also gives you guys a good idea of what's funded, right? So for future
Right.
projects, you can bring it to your boards and councils and say, hey, last year this was picked, why not, you know, go after something some more. So that'll wrap up that report, but very, very excited. Great news.
All right. I got the news last night from Valerie Gatos and brought it to my board because this is their first grant ever awarded to Glen Osborne. Because they've always said, well, we'll never get a grant. I kept saying, try it.
Yes, yes, you just have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, not only that Patrick let us know about the grant. That was
Right.
huge for us, that we really didn't know. We knew some grants, but by the time we knew about it, we weren't ready to
Too
go
late.
for it. Yeah.
Yep, and that's exactly the whole goal, is just to build that cycle and that routine, right? Every fall, every summer and fall, you're gonna have these pots of money available. And it's, you know, we had what, 38 total applications between CD, GDTF, and LSA. I know that's an alphabet soup, but that's a lot of applications. If you just go back 2 years ago when I first took this role, it's like 10. So, that's gonna
Yeah.
create its own issues because not everyone's gonna get picked, right? But that's okay. We're gonna build that cycle, that routine, and, get this money spread out as much as we can. But,
Patrick,
yes.
sorry, this is Roberta in Avalon. We're talking about the gaming, entertainment grants, et cetera. How do you say that who applies for them, or how do we get the money from how are we awarded, I guess?
So we're always one of the last to know who gets picked, to be honest with you. But
Mhm.
the awards are announced typically by your legislators and your senators. So
Mhm.
Valerie Gatos, Devlin Robinson, Anita Kulik, Emily Kincaid, Arvin Venkat, Wayne Fontana. So all of these offices distribute this information out. And then it goes down to us. And ironically enough, the money pushers, i.e. like Allegheny County Redevelopment Authority, if I were to call them up and say, hey, which projects were picked, they'd have no idea right now. They were one of the last to know. But yeah, so the award is sent out via these legislators, and that's I want to say that I saw Avalon's name on that list too. Don't quote me, but I'll send the list out to you if you want to take a look at it.
So that's not something you could help a community write, or Lorraine, my borough manager, is not writing that anything for it. It's coming from the state.
So yeah, you can apply through us, and 5 of these applications that were awarded went through us, and we also applied for 10 other ones. But there's no obligation. Like if you have the staff capacity to apply, you can. It's just there's a lot of paperwork that we have built-in mechanisms to sort of we know how it works, and I think our applications, and I can't speak for this because I think you guys got an award, but our applications are a little more competitive because Allegheny County specifically, there's 7 cogs throughout the county, and we have those systems built in place. They'd much rather work with 7 cogs as opposed to 107 municipalities, right?
Right.
There's a lot of efficiencies that you save there. But again, no obligation, but I think it helps us, and I think it helps your guys' applications too.
No, I agree. I think it's fabulous for like some of the smaller communities, or councils and managers that don't have the grant writing experience, to have the cog to rely on. I mean, Lorraine is our manager, and she's got lots and lots of experience on it. But it's a great asset from the cog, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
All right.
Anything else, Patrick?
Not on the grant end.
Okay, good news. The executive director's report.
Okay, so I'll skip over the first item there. Second up, Allegheny County survey. So the new county executive, Sarah Enlorado, and her team have put together a survey that's just sort of gauging what Allegheny County residents are looking for in this year and the years ahead from her administration. So I know I've been bombarded with emails about the survey, probably 10 different emails from 10 different people, and you guys have probably seen it as well. Well, I'm gonna make it 11 for you guys. So I highly encourage everyone that's in this room and everyone that has the ability to put this on their websites and Facebook accounts and whatever to get this survey out for your residents, because the more people from our region and our 15 towns that participate in this survey, I'm assuming they have some sort of heat map to say who's filling this out. If our voices are being heard, odds are the needs and wants of our residents have a better chance of being fulfilled. So, it is a lengthy survey. It's going to take you 15-20 minutes to complete, but I think it's worthwhile, and I really encourage you guys to distribute that and make your residents aware if you can. I think it's going to wrap up at the end of the month here, so we'll see where they take it, but I think there's no harm in getting it done. No. So next up, local government academies municipal intern program. Usually every January it opens up. Opened up last week, so through January 8th through the 9th of February, anybody that has a intern project that they think would be worthwhile, highly encourage you to submit it. So last year we had 3 interns in the QB cog. It weren't through us, but just communities that had it, and got a chance to meet all 3 of those interns. They were great to work with. I think each town had a positive experience with it, and I'm also on the board for LGA. So anyone that's looking to apply, please reach out to me. I can sort of give you some pointers of what they're looking for in the application. And, you know, it's a great worthwhile program. That's why I'm here, right? That was my first experience in local government, you know, almost 10 years ago. And I've had 3 different interns work for me in different capacities over the years. Awesome program. Can't recommend it enough. So if you're on the fence, jump over the fence and go for it. That's my recommendation. Linked to it, but separate, there's a new internship opportunity through the University of Pittsburgh's Graduate School of Public and International Affairs, as well as the Western Association of Pennsylvania Municipal Management. So it's one internship. Municipal intern programs, 50% funded through the program, 50% funded by the host, and there's about 20 spots. This one's gonna be one internship and it's fully funded, so, you know.
And it's fully funded?
Fully funded, so, you know, if you're applying for one, why not go for the other? You know, it's obviously much more competitive because there's only one spot. You know, it is interesting, I was kind of surprised that this is a thing and they didn't partner through local government academy that's sort of been doing this for years. But it's going to be a great opportunity for a student and a great opportunity for a community. So all the information for that, as well as the MIP, is going to be on our website. Just links that'll direct you to the applications. And yeah, I don't have as much pull for the last one, but definitely a little bit for the LGA one for you guys. But not on the report, but something I wanted to highlight. You know, months and months ago, almost 6 months ago, we approved a tri-borough emergency response committee with Glen Osborne, Glenfield, and Hayesville boroughs. So, you know, they're small towns that have been facing some pretty big issues here, especially with the railroad and, you know, emergency response. So, we had that committee sort of formed, like the formality of it through the QB-COG, and I sent out a call for volunteers. We're up to 4, and I think Barbara has a couple more from Glen Osborne that have reached out. So we're gonna go ahead and get that meeting on the schedule, probably for sometime in February. We'll get together via Zoom, just like the Route 65 committee. And again, these are some big problems that aren't gonna be solved with one meeting. But I'm confident that, you know, we get somebody on the calendar every month, meet, you know, see opportunities for funding, see opportunities for collaboration. I think we can maybe solve some of these challenges that face those 3 towns. So maybe this turns into something bigger than the 3 towns, but for right now, it's just kind of a focus on those 3 communities.
Well, it's 3 small communities with big issues.
Is that to focus on like the railroad and river road, like intersection?
That's how it began.
Okay.
One of my things about emergency management is for Glen Osborne, we do have an emergency manager who's good in starting to organize things, but nobody knows if for instance, a truck would fall over down on the boulevard. Our place to go is Osborne School. Well, if it's on the boulevard, it's probably around Osborne School. Where do we go? Where do we tell residents to go? Where do we have supplies if it's necessary? So it's really, in my opinion, it starts small, which we're doing, but I think it's a whole group issue. It would be nice to share resources. It would be nice to know what other communities around have for safe places. If it happens along the boulevard, well, we have communities up in Bell Acres. Where do you go? How far do you need to go? And plus, we're all volunteers. If this happens, and it seems like every vacation there's an emergency, just saying as mayor. But, and my emergency manager isn't there. Who's next? Who knows all that information? Where is that information? You know, where are the numbers? I think these are all something, we're starting small because I think these are the communities that need it the most.
Yeah.
It seems to me, but I'm one of those communities, but because we have the tracks there, because we've had issues with the tracks, we've had issues with the train. I mean, the more you delve into it, the scarier it gets, in my opinion.
I spent 16 years as Leeds emergency manager, and there was a period of time when Bell Acres didn't have one. and I went to their community to help out. I mean, I can't imagine the trains that come through, what they're hauling, et cetera, et cetera.
Leedsdale's facing one of our goals.
Wow.
We have a similar committee
Mhm.
because we don't have, like, I think Hayesville, we don't have an emergency secondary egress for the
Yes,
industrial, we have
yes.
Washington Street.
Oh, that's true.
residents in the industrial park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And when we changed, closed the walking bridge, the bridge.
Mhm.
So I understand this is just your communities now, but I'd love to get involved with this too, because it's a huge issue for us right now.
we'd
had a
love to
big-
have
A
you.
big bad accident a couple of years ago, remember it was on the mushroom cloud?
Yes.
Yes.
People had to walk across the tracks, because thank
Yes.
goodness it was allowed them to do so, but it's a big problem.
I
for us.
thought I was the only one having a canary about all that.
Oh, no.
One entrance in, one entrance out.
That's why we have them in
And
Glen
Amos
Osborne, and
knows how I
Hayesville,
feel.
and
Yeah,
Blanchard.
and for us, our one exit and entrance is across the railroad. So it's not just one way in and one way out. It's one way in and one way out that we have to cross railroad. So it definitely is a very complicated situation for us.
Is there any way that one emergency management coordinator could take on all three of those smaller communities? I mean, because it even affects funding. I know when we had the floods that came through Fair Oaks,
Right.
I was told that if I didn't meet all the accreditations that you had to receive,
Right.
there'd be no state funding.
You're right, you're right.
So those.
They need to be done, and they need to be filed,
Mhm.
for sure. I mean, I just learned about that through this committee.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that we had to register, and we now are, but there's definitely someone up in Aleppo Township who's very, very knowledgeable about this.
Mhm.
And it would be lovely to tap into what her knowledge is.
Yeah, we have. Judy and
Judy,
Gwen
yeah.
and I went up to Erie last month, 2 months ago. And they had an entire seminar on the subject of emergency management. The room was full.
Mm.
And so they started asking questions, who has this and who has that and who
Yeah.
has something else? And we got the stars for holding our hand up on every one. So it's been, and we started putting this together at least 4 years ago. So we have somebody that's very knowledgeable.
Yes.
She's a strong leader.
Yes. She is.
Yes.
What's her name?
Judy. I have to look at, I always mispronounce it, so,
Right,
Okay.
right. I have it in my head too, but I'm not sure. it's what
Okay,
it is.
Judy from Aleppo.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
She
Starts with
trained
a-
me as
starts with a
an
K.
MP.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
she was very knowledgeable, and she
Yep.
does train.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. She's gone quite a bit.
Yeah.
Patrick, what happened with where are we with the idea of having the emergency management coordination? Like coordinators meet like the same way that the police met?
Wow.
That went the way of the fire chiefs committee. That never really happened either. It's, I get it, they're EMCs, they're also elected officials, and we had like 2 or 3, like, yeah, we're willing to meet. It was just, no one wanted to coordinate a day where everyone wanted to meet, so it's kind of where it went, and I can only chase people around for so long to get together, so that didn't really go anywhere. Neither did the fire chiefs one. It's okay, I mean, we're here to help, and I'm not here to add work to anybody's plate. So, but yeah, like I mentioned, we're gonna get together for the first sort of relaunch, just like the Route 65 committee. This committee was already something before we even got involved.
Right.
This is kind of the relaunch of that.
Together.
And my goal again, just like we had, just set a date. So from that meeting on, we kind of get together, whether it's once a month or once every other month or even
And
more.
it just doesn't have to be those 3 communities.
Yeah, I mean,
If people are interested in sharing their knowledge and skills, I think.
yeah, I don't have an issue with that as long as the group does. I mean,
But drawing up plans for evacuation is extremely important.
Well, I have nightmares about that. That, how do we get people out?
Yeah.
Where to go? They need to know where to go.
Mhm.
And this topic's the perfect segue into our only item of new business, which is letters of support to SPC, which is the
Yes.
Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, and PennDOT District 11 for the evaluation of the intersection of River Road and Route 65.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So this was an email. Amy, did you want to just kind of give a little background on this email from Valerie Gatos's office?
Sure. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. I can, although I think everybody probably received it. Valerie
Mhm.
Gata's office reached out to all of us and requested for us. She knew she had a meeting coming up, and she essentially was just requesting for what our concerns were related to PennDOT, points of discussion that we would like her to bring up in that meeting. So then she sent up a follow-up email, I think earlier this week, that essentially highlighted what those high points were. She talked about Glen Mitchell Road, Ferry Road, but she specifically, Little Swickley Creek, and then Bachtown Road. But she also specifically said that in the conversation with PennDOT about the Route 65 corridor, that they suggested that all of our municipalities that are concerned with the intersection write a letter to the Southwest Pennsylvania Commission and PennDOT requesting funding for a study to investigate options at the intersection. So essentially, she thinks if we jointly send, if all of our municipalities and COG send in letters requesting funding for a study, that we might have the opportunity to receive some funding and some support on this matter. So I brought it up with Patrick just to also get that letter of support from COG, and then to discuss among our municipalities if maybe we could do a draft letter that's shared between us so that we all sort of use the same verbiage and make the same points.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep, I'd be happy to do that, put it together.
Okay. Entertain a motion to write a letter of support.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Hi.
Okay,
Perfect. Yeah, I'll get that put together and I'll have Barbara sign it, and then I'll get the draft for you guys. If you guys want to use the template we put together, feel free. If you guys want to add your own flair to it, feel free to do that as well. But that'll be done probably by the weekend.
yeah,
Okay,
great. Glenn Osborne passed it at our last meeting.
Perfect. All right, that
So
is,
you'd be in touch with the borough managers about that?
yeah, I'll send it out to our entire managers group. We get together next week for our managers meeting, so
Okay,
I'll highlight it then, and I'll also send an email, just for those that got the email, I'll highlight like the email from Valerie. Because it doesn't impact, not everyone gets that email from her, because she's not the representative for everybody, but those that are willing and able to put a letter together, I'll just put my word template and say, have at it,
Great,
okay.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's the Swickley police who are usually at the scene down there. I think it's the Swickley police that go down there, right? So I think.
Well, it's an interesting intersection in that it is the Swickley police that do go down there, you're right.
Yeah,
But because Hayesville doesn't have a police force, the state police.
are they contracted?
Mhm.
Yeah,
So it depends where the Swickley police usually are first because
right.
we don't have, the state police are.
But maybe Swickley, I'm just thinking Swickley Council may be up for writing this letter because it's the Swickley Police Department that
I think
ends up
that'd be
going there.
That would be
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
That would be
Okay.
great.
Yeah, that's all the new business, so I guess we'll go around the horn.
Okay. Concerns by delegates, my favorite. Go.
Art, you're up first. I love that.
I don't really have anything specific to bring up right at this time.
Okay. Roberta, anything on that one?
No, I don't have anything specific to, nothing really exciting's going on here in Avalon. We just did our, voted in our new officers and, yeah, sorry, there's nothing.
Hey, no news is good news most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm going with that right now too. Absolutely.
All right, Tavia, what's new in Ben Avenue? Anything?
Don't have
Mack truck.
Okay, we'll come back around. Abby, what's in Emsworth? What's new? I don't know, it might be us.
I don't know.
Testing. Can you guys hear us?
Yep, I
Anybody?
can still hear you.
Okay, it's not us.
I can hear you in Avalon.
Okay, we'll loop back around then. So, Barbara, what's new in Glen Osborne?
Glenn Osborne just elected, we have a new councilman. And we're moving along we're looking at our sewer system. We're looking at our sewer grates, you know, the practical day-to-day stuff that we all looked at and nobody wants to pay for. Type thing. But so anyways, we're looking at using GIS mapping when we look at our sewers to actually say, we looked at it at this date, this is what we found, and it'll be on the maps.
That's
So,
great.
or if we pave the road, we're saying, because we have, you know, you change councils, then they go, well, this was paved at this time, we think, and, or it needs it now, but. So anyways, we're gonna start to map out our roads, and whenever we pave, we're gonna have that information on the GIS map for future use.
That's great to hear, and we have a great GIS consultant. If you guys are willing to work with them, Civic Mapper, they do all of our maps for the QB cog. So anyone has projects, let me know, and I can definitely put you in touch. Paul, what's doing Glenfield?
Not much, it's quiet.
That's what I like to hear. Amy, Hayesville.
No concerns specifically. I just wanted to say we were thrilled to get the news about our grant. That is for a road that is kind of caving in, and we have residents. It's a one-way in, one-way out road. So it makes a huge difference for quality of life for some of our residents. So we were absolutely thrilled. Again, want to say thank you, Patrick, for all of your help. It does make me think about future grants for sure. One of the things that we talked about last year was potentially applying for a grant to share in police services between Swickley and Glen Osborne. And we met with Swickley Police at some point in time, talked to them about that. And that's something I certainly would like to revisit. I think it would help with some of our 65 issues. I think could benefit all around. But that's high on my priority list for talking about in this coming year.
Very good. Sorry, Daryl, what's doing Killbuck?
We're pretty boring as usual. And again, we lowered our property taxes 2 years in a row now by $500,000 each year. And these grants help us maintain, basically giving the money back to the taxpayer when we get grants. Which is really the way I look at it. Our biggest issue has been writing a bee ordinance. So
Somebody keeping bees in the township.
somebody wants to be bee, somebody has bees, but they want to sell the honey. And the state told him that he has to be in compliance with the township's bee ordinance for them to allow him to sell his honey.
Oh, wow.
Well, we don't have a bee ordinance. And many of you may not have a bee ordinance.
don't either.
So it's something.
And we don't want to be ordinance.
Bees are wonderful. They pollinate everything. So bees are great, but so we've spent 4 months trying to get a bee ordinance through the planning commission back to us, how many square feet. Ohio Township had a fairly recent one, so we could just kind of copy off of theirs. So that's kind of a biggest issue.
So what is the law? Just because Fern Hollow, I'm on the board for Fern Hollow, and we have bees.
Sure.
And we do, we sell.
Honeybees? I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't realize you have to have an ordinance in order to.
Only if you're gonna sell the honey. If you're,
Well, we do
Might want
as
to
a
take a allegedly
fundraiser.
sell it.
Okay, well.
Does that count?
Barbara, Swickley Heights allows bees and apiaries.
Oh, yeah, do we, so you do have a bee ordinance?
Yeah, it's within our zoning ordinance for keeping of bees.
Right.
All right, Nate.
Perfect.
All
You're in good
right.
shape.
Thank you.
10,000 square feet of property, you can have 2 hives, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Flyways for the bees.
Water
Yeah.
sources.
There's all kinds of special
Crazy
things
stuff.
with bees.
Wow.
And we're kind of rolling goats and sheep into the same thing, so.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep goat and sheep and bees.
How about chickens? We had to do
Chicken.
chickens.
Chickens are good.
And how many
so-
roosters you're allowed?
No roosters, nobody
Right.
loves roosters,
Right.
no roosters, just chickens. So, I mean, I guess that's our biggest issue, and we've been talking about, maybe getting an intern this summer to. Dixmont State Hospital used to be in Gilmore Township, the only thing left at Dixmont State Hospital is the cemetery. Which we're responsible, the state kind of washed their hands of it and said it's your cemetery.
Oh.
Well, all it has are things with numbers on them.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've been thinking about putting together a project where an intern could spend the summer working out who's in what grave. We think we have the documentation, maybe cleaning up the lot itself, fencing it maybe, putting a display there,
Wow.
who's buried in which hole,
That's-
kind of thing. Because right now it's just
Yeah.
a
The
field with.
undertakers have the records
Interesting.
of that.
Yeah, I
Go
think,
find out if it's.
I don't think they used undertakers on Dixmont. It was all, the state did it all, Dixmont State Hospital did it. So I think we have the records somewhere
Wow.
in your office somewhere,
Wow.
potentially.
How about it?
Or or Randy's office somewhere in there. So I thought that'd be a good project for an intern potentially for a
Well, yeah,
summer.
let's get together on a call, the
Yeah.
3 of us or whoever else wants to get involved, and I think it sounds like it could be a cool structure, like, okay, historical aspect to it, a GIS component maybe, because they love having the technology involved in it, so like categorizing on a map, which plots,
Who's where and what.
and that'll like spark some interest when they see the technology aspect from a student's point of view, because it gives them experience in that tool, and yeah, I think that'd be cool. Why not?
That's really neat.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
That's interesting.
Okay, Donna, you're up.
As I mentioned earlier, the only thing off the top of my head at this point is we're trying to get stuff together to build a new war memorial. The one that we had was kind of destroyed. So we have name plates. Probably about 300 residents, and we're getting ideas from monument places. We had our engineers, architect, put some plans together, so it's just like getting estimates and stuff. So looking to see if there's any kind of funding out there that could help us along too.
Avalon did one some years back, and they just got businesses in the community to sponsor a certain number of veterans, and it was an Eagle Scout project for kids, put the whole thing together himself. And that's how they funded it, through people in the community donating to build a memorial, which
Yeah.
they moved from one part of Avalon to the Avalon Pool now because they tore the whatever buildings down. So that might be an Eagle Scout project potential if you have some of those.
We have to go to businesses and surrounding areas.
Sure.
Because I
Yeah,
think we
yeah.
really only have like 5
Sure.
local businesses, but the suggestions, great. Thank you. So that's it.
Beth, what's new in Leedsdale?
I guess what's coming to my mind right now is, our splash pad in our Henley Park. It's a wonderful, I think it's a regional asset, I really do, because we have people from all over that kind of discover it. But it's a challenge ongoing because the funding for the water bill, it's not recycled water. And it's hard to retrofit recycling, plus that you deal with, cleaning the water, it becomes more expensive, so. Any suggestions on, could it be qualified as a regional asset? If it is there funding for that? Or any ideas, because this, I forget, Maria, if you're still on, I think the bill was $38,000 this year or something for the water.
Wow.
Yes, it was. The bill literally went up double from even a couple of years ago. And what was a consistent number, like what we estimated in the comprehensive plan, you're looking at billing records. And it's partly, not sure, because we did have it open for the whole week Whereas in the past years before COVID, it was restricted times. So, but also like just the prices really did go up. And so Beth, to add to what you're saying, so in the comprehensive plan, when we did the update, parks are classified based on like different assets that they have there and who visits the park. And so Henley Park, when I went through the classifications and analyzed with the addition of splash pad, Henley Park legit would be considered a regional asset according to what the prevailing classification is for the parks. So it's definitely something that we know from, so it definitely fits the criteria. And from experience, we do know that it draws hundreds of people from all over, from the Quaker Valley region and from Ambridge and even from Moon and from all surrounding communities. So yes. In addition to splash pad too, we're looking to update playground equipment. So any kind of, if there is any leads on any grant funding that is available for this undertaking, we would love to learn more about how other communities manage this.
Yeah, I think the gaming grant, the GDTF grant would be a really great opportunity for you guys if you're looking to update your park. I can attest that Lee Township got, I think, $200,000 last year for exactly that, to update their park. So we'll be tackling that with them in the coming months to get that out to bid and underway. But I think, obviously no grants guaranteed, but that's a really good opportunity, I think, for you guys to pursue.
And is this something that comes up in the fall to apply?
Yeah, it'll be the same time as like the CDBG grants. So, I'll get on a call with you guys and Dan Slagle, and we'll definitely get something put together for you guys.
That's something that sounds great. And I think another, like Beth was saying, with the alternate exit to Washington Street, we would like to start with conducting a feasibility study for this bridge, and engineering study. And we have kind of an idea of what it might cost, and we already passed a resolution on council to make it to show our commitment to this project. And I think the grant sources that you mentioned today, Patrick, would be that might be a very good opportunity for this. So that's another one we would like to keep on our sites as the year goes by, so that we are on time and prepared with any kind of application. That's something we'd like to proceed. Again, learn more about what other communities are doing and have it on the calendar in time to proceed with these applications together with our Dan Slagle and our engineering team.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. All right. Julie, what's new in Swiftly?
Just a recommendation for keeping apprised of grants is Swiftly hired Gateway Engineers, and they're like a full service engineering firm. So they do all kinds of different types of engineering. And we've been very pleased with them. And they also have a grant writer, and they will write grants for us. Their grant writer will write grants, but they also identify grants. So you could ask your engineer, like when you're planning out what you want your new playground to be like, you can ask the engineer to look for grants that would maybe, pertain to that project and I guess it depends on which firm you're using, but they may be able to do that. I just wanted to share our two big projects in Swiftly for this year, in case anybody else has similar issues, and we could maybe, share thoughts about it. We're working on repairing a hillside that is prone to landslides, but there's a lot of properties on that hillside, and the street even is coming down.
Ooh.
The street's just been paved over and over and over, so it's extremely heavy. And there's just not good drainage there when there's a heavy rain. It's just that we did the first phase of it last year, and it was $500,000 or something just for the first phase. So we're working to basically shore up this whole hillside on Crescent Avenue, which is back near Waterworks Road. It's not like one of the sexy areas of Swiftly that everybody sees. So it's sort of just been gone to the wayside for many, many years. And it's a very expensive project. So, but we're finally we're finally facing the music over there. So if anyone has that kind of thing, we're working on that. And then we're also gonna be making improvements to our wastewater treatment plant. And that's involved like just a lot of analysis and grant seeking. And so if anyone has questions about that, I'd love to talk about that. And then the last thing is the ALOM conference. I know we just had a few people sign up to go to the Allegheny League of Municipalities Conference that's in April. It's at Seven Springs. And it is, I mean, Patrick goes every year. I've gone for a few years. It's really valuable just to, there's tons of different topics that they present on. You guys just went to the one in Erie, so
Yeah,
that's a different one,
a
but
completely different one, but it's the same thing. I've been up there. And the programs and the content of the programs I have found to be exceedingly valuable when I get back.
it's really helpful with like emergency management stuff or grant seeking or how to deal with difficult residents or how, I mean, there's just all kinds of different topics. So you could sign up for that now if you're interested in going.
Great networking event, like you meet all sorts of different people
Yeah.
and everyone's kind of facing the same issues and you get to hear from different sides. You know, outside of just the QB bubble too, right? You hear from all across the county, so.
And the state reps come too, like they'll do a panel of state representatives, so there are different like elected officials across the state that answer questions about all kinds of different things, and they talk about what their legislative agenda looks like. I would assume that the Allegheny County Executive would do a speech there. They classically come and give remarks, so it's interesting to see like what's happening across the county.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's all for me.
All right, Nate, what's new in the Heights?
Nothing for me, Patrick. We are all quiet so far this year.
I like it. I like it. All right, anybody that I didn't get to or anyone have last comments?
No.
Things close time.
Yes, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move adjourned.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye, and thank you for an interesting
Aye.
first
Thank you,
meeting.
everybody. We'll see you next month.